So I'm going to quickly move on. Thank you very much for that, Rudy. Excellent presentation. So we're going to move on now to Hugh Mayers, our psychotherapist, relationship coach, mental health trainer. Are you ready for us, Hugh?
I don't know. After hearing all the presentations, I feel a little bit under pressure because the Kings kind of put the bar a little bit high, but I'm going to humbly do my best to at least maintain, as they say.
Welcome to the platform.
Thank you. Thank you to yourself, Joan, for organizing the platform and inviting me. I feel honored and privileged, but also to all of the Queens who have turned out and also my fellow panelists. So my name is Hugh Mayers. I am a psychotherapist and also a broadcast journalist. I have a podcast series which I must cheekily plug, and I've put it in. I've unabashedly put it in the chat room, the hyperlink.
That's absolutely fine. And what I will say, if all presenters could please put their contact details into the chat, because I know that a lot of the guests on the platform are eagerly, they want to contact you for whatever reason. So please post your contact details into the chat. That's absolutely fine, Hugh.
Okay, all right, no problem. So yeah, so the link is there. And I work on a number of different projects. And one of the projects that I work on is a mentoring scheme. Helping young men to move from that journey from boyhood to manhood. And there's a number of values that we instill in them, number of sections of the course, accountability, visionary goal setting, things of this nature, self-determination. However, there is one element which seems to be, which gets a lot of controversy or a lot of attention, and that is the module, Respect for Womanhood. And it's funny because last night I was running a focus group with some young people, just testing out a module or, exploring a module and the effectivity of the module and getting some feedback from young people before sections of the course is rolled out. And that section about, respect for womanhood, it caught a lot of controversy. There were young ladies in the room or part of the actual training, and they gave their feedback as well and said how much they appreciated it. But it was this controversy of, well, why can't it be just respect for everybody? But we recognize that in society, and definitely when we look at popular culture, something has gone a little bit to the left. No pun intended for my left-wing friends, but there's something that's gone a little bit left. And in terms of the female image and the sexual objectification of women, and in particular, the sexual objectification of our Black women in the public space, it's not cool. And it's creating an imbalance in terms of the mentality that some of our young men have towards the queens. So we definitely want to set the record straight about that. And, behind the scenes, where there are brothers that are doing that work to, nurture that protective spirit and that protective DNA that is in our young men, so that they become more protectors and not predators towards our young queens. So I mentioned about respect, I mentioned about honor to the queens, but there's one queen that I have to honor above all, and that is to my mum, Mama June, who nurtured me with her care, with her compassion, with her love. I couldn't be, yes, my dad was a pillar, rest his soul, but my mother, without the womb, I have to give blessings to the womb that gave rise to Hugh Mayers, that brought me into this world. So before I honor anyone, I have to honor my mum, but respect to all the queens and love to all the queens. And we know it's International Women's Day very, very soon, and also Mother's Day as well. So we're gonna acknowledge that also. But what is pivotal and reason why I mention my mum, because she's the one that nurtured me with her love, but sometimes the love was tough. Sometimes the love was a little too tough, but I'm still here to give testimony. My mum is from a small town in Jamaica called Augustown. And if you know anything about, well, Kingston in general, they're not backward in coming forward. They're not shy to tell you exactly how they feel. But it was that congruence. It was that not being afraid to tell me when I was going off track, not mollycoddling me, that I really appreciate now, that I didn't really appreciate at the time. And but now with hindsight and looking back at the situation, I could have seen in so many negative avenues I could have ended up as a man. So, we have to give thanks for that. So the word, the power of the queens is in the word, yeah? The ability of the queens to influence, should I say, us as men is phenomenal. That means that when a a queen is in a man's life, whether it's as a friend, as a spouse, as a mother, as an aunt, whoever that person is, they can be such a positive influence. And that's why you have the yin and the yang. We're not abstract. Male and female are not abstract. They exist, and they co-complement each other. And the power of the female word is phenomenal in the life of men. And I want to really acknowledge that also. The words that when you are encouraged, when you are told that you've got this, when you're told that you can do this, even when you don't believe it yourself, a woman can even give you that power to make you believe and be accomplish things you didn't even think you can. But likewise, the pendulum swings both ways. So with great power comes great responsibility. Those same words can burn like acid. They can burn through metal. So when those words are weaponized, then we can see that there's the potential for such a devastating impact. But we honor the queens, and we acknowledge their greatness. Now, I'm gonna get controversial, but I want to say that feminism has killed chivalry. Well, that's the word on the wire, that the feminism has killed chivalry. But I would say to the queens that you are so beautiful, you are so powerful, and that when you lead with your femininity, that is your strength. And when you lead with your femininity, men are so hardwired, they have to accommodate that, and they have to become gentlemen, and they have to deal with you in that way. I'll give you a quick anecdote. When a sister leads you in place of I'm strong and I'm independent and I don't need nobody, don't be surprised, or I don't need no man. Don't be surprised when the men fall back, because they genuinely believe what you're saying. And it's different from when a queen leads in a sense of, I wasn't quite sure how to do it. See how quick the men step up and they're ready to take off their jacket and get involved and do things, because why? We are hardwired. You can't change us in 50 years of left-wing politics. That is us, protectors, providers. That is our nature, and that's what we will do. Okay, so only because of time, I'm gonna move on to my next point, and which is that we know that in popular art, as we said, that our women have been, let's say, denigrated, and we've challenged with our art and come back with cultural icons and, very, very conscious and powerful music. But at the same time, we know that there is this agenda, it would seem, to push this negative image. Now, there is a Meg Thee Stallion, there is Cardi B, right? But beyond that image that some powers that be are trying to play games with the minds of the young in particular, beyond that image, we as men are developing that capacity, or igniting that true capacity, that true nature, to go beyond just appreciating the woman for, I may say something that may sound a bit profane, but I hope it's going to be profound. We can learn to love the woman not for a whole, but love her as a whole, and appreciate her and not objectify her. So this is just my small, minutiae, 5-minute contribution for the queens. We're in the kitchen, always try to give you a little bit of food for thought, and I'm around for the questions and answers, criticisms, or for comments, or even criticisms. But that's just, I just wanted to just put that in the mix for the morning. So keeping it short and brief, and I'm going to hand the mic back to yourself, Joe.
Oh, Hugh, that was deep. That was really deep. And I like the sort of like analogy you gave where, it's not just one, it's like a partnership, and the pendulum does swing both ways. It really does. So, that was, and what we say, words are so powerful, and what we say to each other does matter. So it's a bit like, I've spoken many a time about affirmations, and you might even see a friend, you can say to a fellow girlfriend, gosh, that dress looks nice, or your hair looks nice. It's about putting that positivity out there as well. And, we as kings, queens, even showing that love and, appreciation and encouragement for each other. We've got to stop all this tearing down.
The word on the wire, Joan, is the gender war is done. It's over. It's finished.
Yeah.
And it's just the rebuilding and the peace process right now. That's and we only thrive in peacetime. So the gender war is done, man. The gender war is done. The kings and queens are back on track. Yeah. Back on board.
Yeah, and especially in these times now, in a way, you've just got to put all whatever nonsense is going on, and it has to be about just pure love. we've all lost people. We've seen there's been so much kind of like loss and tragedies that's gone over the last year. And we really, it has to be about, and that's why I do the platform as well. You know, we've got to create something and have some kind of positivity within our community about lifting us up. So when we come out into this new world, we are empowered, we're strong enough, you know, and being in lockdown, if anything, it's given us time to just reflect and think and readjust ourselves.
Definitely, no, definitely. As they say, if you can't go outside, you have to go inside. So, you know, all things are mental. So we've been building.
That's right, yeah, and we will continue to do so. Thank you so much for that. So you're going to be sticking around for the Q&A at the end. So if anybody has any questions, please pop it into the chat, which my lovely co-host Nadia from the Black Help Group is